They've won the title 3 times before. What chance do you give them against Gonzaga this afternoon?
Oh, I give them a fighting chance. They played Gonzaga less than 2 weeks ago in Spokane, where they average over 5,000 fans, and they're crazy. And it was a 4-point game. Laura Stockton hit a late 3 in that game to give Gonzaga a 4-point win. So they knew they were competitive, and they drew a lot of confidence from that game.
It feels like we're in Spokane with all of the Gonzaga fans that have made their way down. Some San Diego fans here too as well. Who will be dancing at the end of this one? We'll find out in a moment. Just about set for game time between San Diego and Gonzaga. Cindy Fisher, the head coach of the Toreros. This is her 13th season, all the way back in 2008. Won the WCC tournament and got San Diego to the NCAA tournament. 5 WNITs since, going up against Lisa Fortier, who is following in Mark Few's footsteps. She has built just about as impressive a dynasty on the women's side as Mark Few's got going on the men's side.
Yeah, she's done a really nice job since taking over for Kelly Graves 4 years ago, who just won the Pac-12 championship, and she's done a really nice job. Won the regular season championship with 17 wins, which is an all-time Gonzaga record. And this team right now, number 34 in the RPI. They're not only trying to wrap up the WCC tournament, they're trying to get a really high seed.
48 on the verge of taking Gonzaga to the NCAA tournament 3 out of her first 4 years. As Gonzaga, the regular season champion 13 of the last 14 years in the West Coast Conference. But getting off to the good start is the first team all-conference 5'9" guard Aubrey Wardell.
And San Diego coming out in a 2-3 zone. That bothered Gonzaga a little bit. Really tight game at halftime yesterday versus San Francisco, and they put a 2-3 zone on them, forcing them to hit outside jump shots.
Leaning in and getting the Zags on the board is Zakira Rice, who will not be hard to pick out during today's game. See if you can find her on the floor.
Love that hair. She's had it since high school, she said. She's had it blue, and now you look out with all the Gonzaga crazy fans here, and a bunch of them have blue wigs to support her. Love it.
Jill Barta in and out. And a really good box out by Sydney Williams, who had 20 against Pacific and at times looked like the best player on the floor. Coming up short, Wardell. Offensive rebound and a stick back by Maya Hood.
And that's going to be one of the keys, is those O boards for San Diego.
3 from the corner, wide open and connecting. Emma Staub.
And she has been on an absolute tear. Hit 4 threes against San Francisco. Was the one player for Gonzaga when they were struggling in the first half that could find the bucket.
Seven to shoot. Caroline Burr lost it. Here comes Jill Barta, the WCC Player of the Year, trying to go coast to coast, and she is fouled hard by Aubrey Wardell.
Shows you the versatility for Jill Barta. One, getting the pick and then going coast to coast. She is the center for this team. 6'3", but really versatile.
And there's a Stockton playing point guard at Gonzaga. Seems appropriate.
Well, we've seen that before. Of course, her older brother David, and then her father, the Hall of Famer John, in the stands with his wife, who also is a Gonzaga alum, an athlete there. And the part you love about Laura Stockton is her coach, Lisa Fortier, said she's the one that is as competitive as John. John had that burning competitiveness. And she said she knows all those tricks. He's taught her all the tricks. I think some of his opponents would have another word for the tricks that John Stockton had.
That's a lot of tricks. Battling for the loose ball, coming up with the rebound is Zakira Rice. And here comes Stockton. Gives it up to Chandler Smith.
San Diego switching it to player here.
Out to the wing. Another three goes down for Stahl.
And they ran their set. I think they were expecting San Diego to stick in that 2-3 zone. They switched it up. They had to recall their offense with about 10 on the shot clock, and they get the big three ball.
Crossover by Maya Pace.
I really like her game. Just really has done a nice job as a freshman lefty, getting in the lane, explosive athlete.
Smooth jumper for Rice.
I'll tell you, Rice is really showing off her game. She had a game against BYU where she got up and tried to dunk, brought down the rim, but couldn't finish it. But her athleticism and facing up as well.
That's exactly what Sydney Williams does at the other end, a chance for a three-point play. Now don't tell me this is a Stockton running pick and roll.
Pick and roll, finding the outside shooter. The weak side defense got sucked in, and that left Stahl wide open for the three ball, and that's her second already. And an answer bucket and three-point play on the other end from Sydney Williams. Local kid in Gonzaga, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, is about 30-minute drive away from Spokane. She grew up there. Her parents, her grandparents are season ticket holders, and this game means everything to the senior.
Barta has her pocket picked. Maya Pace with the steal.
Pace has those long arms where she can reach in and bat the ball away like she did on that possession.
Short here, though. Looking for her own miss, and it's out of bounds. It'll stay with San Diego. Caroline Burr will take Alexandria Young out. Burr shovels one underneath. Bank shot is good for Pace. A nice find by Burr.
Burr's really played well in this WCC tournament. Had 12 boards in the semifinal win to get here against Pacific.
Barta's off the mark. Rebound by Hood. Maya Hood with a hit ahead. Sydney Williams, yes.
And that's big for San Diego, beating Gonzaga down the floor in that secondary transition. Williams just outrunning the other post, getting early position for the score.
Barta can't put Gonzaga back on top. A chance for San Diego to extend the lead.
And this start, I think, is crucial for San Diego's confidence. They only lost by 4 on the road in Gonzaga just 2 weeks ago. They felt like they could play with them, but a good start always gives you that real boost that you need in a tournament game like this.
With the left hand, Sydney Williams backing up a strong 20-point performance in the semis against Pacific. All 7 field goals for the Toreros in the paint. From the corner, Chandler Smith, that's no good. Weak side rebound, trying to force one back up as Stahl, and she draws the foul.
And you can see the intensity there, a little extra shove. And
so a timeout on the floor, under 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Gonzaga had the early lead, but a terrific San Diego response. They're up by 3.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal, Investments, Retirement, Insurance, and Pedigree. Feed the good.
Selection Monday is right around the corner on the women's side. Monday, March 12th, the exclusive live announcement of the 64-team NCAA Women's Championship field again this year at 7 Eastern on ESPN, then a bonus hour of coverage at 8 Eastern on ESPNU. Maria Taylor, Rebecca Lobo, Andy Landers, Kara Lawson, Charlie Cream. They'll break it all down. The NCAA Women's Selection Special presented by Capital One, also streaming live on the ESPN app. All right, Elise, we've got women's tickets punched already. Who jumps out to you as a real threat, if anyone?
Well, I tell you, Louisville and South Carolina obviously have had an amazing season. South Carolina winning the SEC for the 4th year in a row. Asia Wilson never lost an SEC tournament game. You've got to be kidding me. But Oregon playing really well right now. Essentially, there are going to be 6 number 1 seeds, but only 4 are going to get them. And Oregon probably won't get that number 1 seed just because Notre Dame and some of the other, of course, Connecticut and they've played really good basketball. But there will be some challengers to UConn this year. As great as UConn has been, remember they didn't win it last year, and I think everybody maybe gets a little shot of confidence knowing they can be beaten.
Who's at the top of the list?
Well, it's unfortunately the injury issues for Baylor because they're a team that played really well this season. But Louisville and, of course, Mississippi State being undefeated and knocking them off last year. They know they can do it. They've done it.
Offensive rebound and a putback by Maya Hood. Surprising score as we approach 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. 3-point lead for San Diego.
Oh, they're just shooting the ball so well. At the timeout, they were shooting 7 of 11 from the floor.
Step back for Rice.
Yeah, she has come to play. She averages double figures for Gonzaga. Jill Barta, their leading scorer. But she brings it, and she has that energy. You'd say she has a colorful personality. I think it matches her hair.
Literally.
It's
nice steal inside from Maya Hood, who's off to a good start. She averages about 12 a game. She's already made her first couple from the field, up to 6 points.
Yeah, 6th-year senior. Tore her ACL last year and had to miss. Played the first 9 games and had to miss, and is just rounding back into form.
Chalk up another assist as well for Laura Stockton.
And draws the defense with the dribble penetration. She's not a three-point shooter, but she's really good at the pull-up inside the paint. The defense collapses and leaves Rice wide open, and she's knocked down 2 of those already.
Stahl with 5 to shoot. Has to force one up. That should be a shot clock violation unless the officials have a foul called, which I don't believe they do.
Ryan Wood talking to Brenna Pantola right now. It looked like he might have raised his hand.
If a foul is called, that is about as much of a bailout as you're going to get. And it does appear as if Brian Woods was about to give Stahl the benefit of the doubt and call a shooting foul, but was the shot clock to 0 before the foul was called?
Looks like she squeezed that off. If they're calling that contact on the shot, which you're right, is a total bailout call. Aubrey Wardell. It looks like all ball to me on that one. That's a tough call. Almost 0 on the shot clock.
You wonder if this is a moment at the monitor where Brian Woods now gets a look at the replay and says, that was all ball. I probably shouldn't have called that foul. You know what? Shot clock violation.
Well,
no harm, no foul, and you walk away from the monitor. I mean, obviously the foul is not reviewable, but you can kind of bail yourself out of maybe a bad call that you just made by saying, all right, shot clock violation.
And what's interesting about everybody going to the monitor now, and it seems like we go to the monitor 3, 4, 5 times a game, is that back in the day, in quotation marks, sometimes you just call it out of bounds instead of calling a foul because you don't want to foul somebody out. It's just the gamesmanship. You can't do that anymore because now everything is reviewable. So sometimes they'll go back and say, oh, it's really the other team's ball. So you didn't call the foul, and then the other team gets possession. There's so much more to the instant replay that I think goes into it than was originally intended.
Shot clock violation.
And
that's the ultimate response. I agree with you. I think in all sports, replay has gone to a place where it was never intended to go. Replay was originally brought into sports with the idea that we are going to fix the Don Denkinger, oh my God, I just screwed up the World Series mistake. And now, especially in the NFL, where they are slowing replays down to see if a ball is like wobbling or oscillating in a guy's hands as he falls out of bounds, as Sydney Williams knocks down another jumper. And it does nothing but infuriate the fans, because even at the end of some of these replay reviews, the fans still don't know if the right call was made.
I think you put a timer on the officials at the monitor. If you can't figure it out within a minute, then
I've said the same thing.
Stands, and everybody will be happy. I'll tell you who's happy right now is Sydney Williams for San Diego. 5-point Toreros lead. She's really played well with some intensity.
Good hands by Jessie Loetta to create the held ball and get it back for Gonzaga. Stockton sits down. So now Loetta will be the main ball handler. And also sitting down is Jen Worth for the Zags, as back in the game is the WCC Player of the Year, Jill Barta.
Loetta with the ball in her hands has great family tradition in hoops. Older sister played at Oregon, younger sister going to Arizona State next year.
And a great feed to Rice there.
And that's good for her. Inside, outside. The blue hairs in Vegas love it.
If I see 4 guys all sitting next to each other with big bald spots, can I call that my fan club? Is that allowed?
Absolutely.
Wardell with a floater. It goes down.
San Diego has come to play. They understand that it's been 10 years since San Diego has been in the NCAA tournament.
That jumper short, and ripping it away is Williams, tied up. Held ball, possession arrow gives it to San Diego.
And I think that's tough too. Sydney Williams has the ball, everybody pawing at her. You want to take away the flying elbows in the game. People reaching in, you got to be able to protect yourself. And they call the jump ball on Williams. The look on her face, you can just tell how much this game means to her as a senior from right there in the Spokane area in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Said she was a huge fan of Courtney Vandersloot growing up and what she was able to do with Gonzaga, and now a star in the WNBA.
Williams in and out from the baseline. Loetta to the corner. Stop. That's no good. And Williams has another rebound. Outlets one to Maya Hood, who was not expecting to pass. An excellent catch and a nice pull-up.
Another senior for San Diego. 5 seniors on this roster, and they are coming together at the right time.
Barta spins and draws the foul.
And that's what you do when you are down by 7. You get the ball in the hand of your leading scorer, Jill Barta, inside the lane. She loves shooting the 3, but she's just so good inside and draws so much attention.
No field goals so far for Barta. One of 10 finalists for the newly created Cheryl Miller Award, which goes to the best small forward in college basketball. First year of that award.
The thing about Jill Barta is that she could go in as a small forward. She could go in as a power forward. She could go in as a 5 for this team because they asked her to play so big for them. She's had to change her role from just being a scorer to also being a big-time rebounder and defender. And she's always going to score, but her rebounding and defense has gotten better now as a redshirt junior.
8 to shoot. Closing in on the end of the first quarter. Wardell on the move. Floats one up. That should be a shot clock violation. And it is on San Diego. So about 7 seconds left for Gonzaga before the end of the quarter.
Switching things up. They play mostly player-to-player defense that time, going to the 2-3 zone. Really effective in switching that up.
Loetta finds the trailer. Barta still looking for a first field goal. And can't knock down the 3 to end the first quarter. A 5-point lead for the 6 seed after 1. San Diego leads by 5, although a good start for Zakira Rice.
She has played well inside, outside, bringing the energy, bringing the fans with the blue hairs here to Vegas.
And my fan club's here as well. 5-point lead for San Diego, led by a somewhat unlikely scorer. Sydney Williams only averaged about 9 points per game through the season coming into the WCC tournament. She's got 9 already against Gonzaga. She had 20 in the semifinals.
And that's what happens when you're a senior and you see that your career is going to be coming to a close really soon. The sense of urgency that she's played with and the toughness. And it only helps matters for her that she's playing against what was essentially her hometown team growing up. In Gonzaga, they did not recruit her. They already had enough post players. So she went down, another WCC school, to San Diego. She said she absolutely loves it. And when talking about facing the team to beat, the #1 seed Gonzaga with this run of success, And is San Diego going to be intimidated? She said, I think they should be a little bit scared of us. And so far, her and her team have been playing like that.
There's the first field goal, though, for Jill Barta, the player of the year in the league. Let's see if that gets her going. And a good double team. The Zags, excellent defense. How about Ward Elbow? To maintain her composure, and eventually they work it to Williams.
I love the defensive decision out of the timeout to trap, threw it at San Diego. They somehow managed to get out of a great closed trap and get the bucket. And San Diego staying in that player-to-player defense.
Loetta turns the corner, tosses one back to Barta for a long two.
A foot on the line, one of the hardest shots in hoops. But a good find from Loetta, getting all the way inside the key after turning the corner and then kicking it out.
Baseline jumper is there, knocking it down. Was Caroline Burr. Now Loetta at the other end with a crossover, lost it. A little bit out of control, so still a 5-point lead for San Diego.
Jill Barta getting it inside the lane, and then just a pretty turnaround jumper off glass. Next time down, she moves outside, going inside, outside, and her teammates find her. They want to know where is Jill Barta because she finishes.
Good double team. Anna Ramos across the lane, stripped away, ends up with hood though, and a baby jumper goes down. All 22 of San Diego's field goal attempts inside the three-point line. They haven't tried a three-pointer yet, so that is old school basketball, and it's working.
Well, they dragged a cutter down to the corner, and what started as a 1-2-2 zone became almost like a man-to-man defense, and San Diego right now is just shooting lights out.
Barta gets the roll. When was the last time you saw that, though, at any level of basketball in modern day? A team playing almost a quarter and a half, and they continue it here, not even attempting a three-point shot.
They're not a big three-point shooting team. They can get hot, they can hit it, but this is their game, and they are playing the style that they need to play in order to beat Gonzaga, the #1 seed. They're getting it in the lane, and they're finishing.
Zakira Rice draws the foul.
That's just a good, hard take by Rice. Getting in, finding the body, and earning herself 2 free throws.
And to your point, the San Diego style, they average 3.3 made threes per game. That is last in this league and 336th in the country. So they've got their style. They are being true to it, and they're shooting close to 70% from the field. It's 65% overall.
They've been able to push out and get buckets before Gonzaga's defense is set. But even against the half-court set, Gonzaga right now, their pressure has not bothered them at all. They're finding lanes, they're finding seams in the defense. But as well as they're shooting, right now they're only ahead by 3. Zags switching it up defensively again.
Scoops way off the mark from Ramos.
It looked like she had it open on the left-hand side. She went back to the right and didn't have a good angle.
Stockton takes over once again for the Zags. Jill Townsend, finger roll is good. Timeout called by San Diego. Gonzaga within 1. 6:41 to go in the first half. The 1 seed in a battle with the 6 seed here in Vegas.
1-point lead for San Diego, and here's why. All lay-ins so far in this game. They've scored 31, 24 have come from in the paint. They're outscoring the Zags 24-10 inside the lane. And it's been in a lot of different varieties, getting in with dribble penetration, beating the Zags defense down low. And that's why they're shooting 63%. If you're only shooting lay-ins, odds are saying you're going to shoot a high percentage. 1 free throw in this game, 0 threes attempted. They're just finding their way to the lane and scoring.
That's Elise Woodward. I'm Bob Wischusen. The championship game of the West Coast Conference on the women's side between San Diego and Gonzaga. On the men's side at 9 Eastern on ESPN between Gonzaga and BYU, who took down St. Mary's in our second semifinal last night. Barta with the rebounds. And here comes Stockton. Stockton with a crossover. Left hand. Yes.
Good take, the dribble penetration. No weak side help coming, and she just flips it up over the top of the D with her offhand.
Deep one for Williams. That's an air ball. Maybe a little outside of her range.
And so everything that San Diego has done well in this game, they now trail by a point. They're shooting 63%, or they were before that miss by Williams, and they still are trailing by a point. Gonzaga, even though they have not played great defense in this game, they still are the team in control.
This is their first lead since it was 12-11. And now with Barta losing her balance on the post-up, the turnover gives it back to San Diego. And the Toreros will try and retake the lead. Aubrey Wardell. Wide open jumper, and that is off the mark for Burr.
The defense collapsing, forcing San Diego to go out.
Stockton thought about a 3 instead of pull-up 2 and missed everything. Back tap though, and Jen Worth out to Staub for a jumper that's good.
Head coach Lisa Fortier talked about Emma Staub, where she has so much passion, but she doesn't show it a lot. Well, she showed it there. A big old fist pump on her 3rd made 3 in this first half.
Five to shoot. Maya Pace knifes through the defense but comes up short. Stockton will push the other way. Numbers for the Zags. Stockton, reverse, yes.
Oh, that was beautiful. Pushed all the way under the hoop. I didn't think she had an angle to score, but again, with her left hand, just flipping it over and using a little English.
A 13-0 Gonzaga run as they're trying to retake control of this game. Burr through a double team, short. It belongs to San Diego when we come back.
Stockton getting in the lane, pushed underneath. Usually you think she's going to pass it out. Instead, she takes it herself for the deuce. That is pretty.
How many times during his career did he go through trees in the NBA and flip one with English up off the backboard? It would go through. And, of course, you'd be sitting at home going, how did the little 6'2" guy get through all of those huge bodies and do that? And apparently that's one of those tricks that he taught his daughter, because she just did it as well.
She's played really well so far in this WCC championship game. Trying to get back to the NCAA tournament.
Barta across the lane, uses the window.
Such a tough guard. If you put a post player on, she can go outside. If you put a little on her, she'll take you down low and post you up. She requires a double team when she's near the paint because she can find different ways to score.
Closing in on 1,600 career points. And Barta's now been in double figures 29 times this season. But a chance for a three-point play for Maya Hood.
And I just love Maya Hood's game. Again, 6th year playing for San Diego. For her ACL last year after the first 9 games of the season, but had a phenomenal freshman year and then found out she was pregnant, had a baby, Elijah, who is here. He's now 4 years old. but she is going to graduate with a master's and nearly 3.5 GPA at San Diego, a wonderful institution. Played with her twin sister, who was done 2 years ago, Melina, and Melina had a great career. She's now an engineer with the U.S. Postal Service, but they get tremendous support from their family. They call it Hood Nation for Maya Hood, and just a great story, especially in March Madness, playing her final games as a member of San Diego's team.
Stockton uses the screen, turns the corner, and Hood's got the rebound.
Gonzaga has switched their defense up again. They've really done a good job of trying to keep San Diego off balance.
Smooth jumper, though, for Sydney Williams.
And that's the answer. Push it outside. If they knock down jump shots, they're going to be right in this one.
Sydney Williams with the rebound to go along with 13 points here in the first half. Hood in transition. Oh, she's hit hard by Stockton. I'm not sure if Stockton made a clean play on the basketball. And let's see if they have any reason they feel to go to the monitor. Doesn't look like the officials are going to call this anything but a common foul.
Was she trying to get the ball with her left hand there?
Boy, I'm surprised they're not taking a look, at least a look at that. It's a flagrant foul if you don't make any legitimate play on the basketball and there's some excessive contact. Did it look to you like she was making a play on the ball?
I do. I think with her left hand, she reached down to swipe it down. And look, it's what you're taught. If you're going to go down in an open break situation like that, you make sure, if you're swiping at the ball, that they cannot continue for the three-point play. Yes, her dad, John Stockton, probably one of the things that he taught to Laura Stockton, but it's the right play. I think she was definitely reaching for the ball with that left hand.
That's the tough former player analysis opposed to the clueless kind of soft broadcaster.
I like it. Please, no more reviews of the monitor.
That I'm all for.
I know you are.
Yeah,
we're on the same page there.
We're definitely on the same page with that. From the wing, it's Stahl, and barely draws iron. So San Diego responds again, retakes the lead. Coming up on 90 seconds to go in the half.
It's 40-39 in the first half. This game we have seen some great shooting, offensive execution. The defense has not been bad. The offense has just been better.
Now a turnover and a chance for Stockton. Little stutter step dribble. Pulls up and a chance for a three-point play.
What a move. Her intensity burns. You can just feel it in her eyes. You can feel it here, just the hesitation and then the 1-2 pull. That looked exactly like her dad. This jumper, is that not John Stockton? Showing a little more emotion than we remember from her dad, but that is a great move. And she said, great article in USA Today on Laura Stockton and about how competitive she is and that she sometimes just doesn't know how to have fun in anything you do because she has to win. We all know those people when you play checkers with them or whatever, and it's like, yeah, you are no fun.
5 to shoot for Wardell. Gives it up to the wing, long jumper, and that draws back iron for Maya Pace. Rice, another chance for a three-point play for the Zags.
That is a great read by Rice. Down on the low block, she had the bigger, maybe stronger Williams on her, and she reverse pivots away from the contact. Look at that, reverse pivot away. Give yourself a little space. One dribble. Williams has a hard time staying with Rice when she's on the move, and she gets the three-point opportunity.
That's the second foul on Williams. About a 3-second differential between shot clock and game clock. So Cindy Fisher not feeling the need to take Williams off the floor, figuring there probably will not be another offensive possession for Gonzaga unless San Diego turns it over. They need a timeout, and they get it here. We'll step aside and come back in 30 seconds at the closing moments of the first half. Laura Stockton with 7 points and 4 assists here in the first half. She's had an impact.
Well, doing everything, taking it to the bucket, finding her teammates, and bringing the intensity. Here, her eyes are up. She's looking for her teammates. The baseline defender didn't come to her, so she flips it over her head underneath. And this is the play right here that just screams desire, getting in against a bigger, taller defender and finishing anyway.
5 on the shot clock. Aubrey Wardell gets the screen, leans in off the mark, and back the other way comes Loetta from midcourt. Good if it goes. 5-point lead for Gonzaga at halftime, and a very high-scoring first half at that.
And I don't think it's bad defense. I think it's been better offense.
5-point lead for the 1 seed at halftime. Coming up on the Audi halftime report, a look back at Mississippi UConn and a first half recap.
The dream continues.
This halftime report is presented by Audi.
You know you're in Las Vegas when? This is the halftime show. Gonzaga on top of San Diego by 5 in the championship game of the West Coast Conference Tournament. Bob Wischusen and Elise Woodward, and we watched another John Stockton prodigy at Gonzaga put on a show in the first half. Laura Stockton, 7 points and 4 assists.
She played really well. The 4 assists, how about just 1 turnover to go with that? The entire team only had 5 turnovers in the first half, playing a well-played, clean game. But this is the one I love. Pull-up jumper, 2 defenders in her face, and she knows what's on the line. A trip to the NCAA tournament and a WCC championship trophy.
3 of her teammates also in double figures. Somewhat surprising score, though. By 7 points in the first minute of the game, San Diego had the lead. A couple of times in the first half, Gonzaga led by as many as 6. They lead by 5 now. How surprised are you that San Diego has been able to go not only toe-to-toe with the Zags, but toe-to-toe in a high-scoring game?
Well, they're not a good scoring team. They have been good this year because of their defense. They don't even average 60 points per game. They're already at 40. They've shot the ball really well. Their game plan has been really tight. And where they just get in the lane, they're taking what the defense gives them, and they're knocking down shots, running in transition and getting lay-ins. You shoot lay-ins, you're going to shoot a high percentage.
Champ Week obviously means tickets punched to the NCAA tournament. Very interesting to see if San Diego pulls off an upset today. Would the Zags then be looking at being a bid stealer? These are the teams that already are in the women's field. South Carolina and Ohio State, Oregon. You've got some teams that obviously are major conference players already moving through.
I think for Gonzaga, their RPI is 34. You would imagine that they would be in consideration for the NCAA tournament with an RPI of 34. However, if they lose to San Diego, who has an RPI of 135, how far will they drop? And if they drop into the 40s and you're going up against other teams that right now are sitting on the outside looking in, like Nebraska or USC or some of these other schools, then I think it can get a little dicey. I don't believe they can be comfortable with losing this WCC championship game and feeling like, oh, we're going to get in anyway.
If you're in that kind of last 4 in, first 4 outline, you're watching this game, you're rooting for Gonzaga. You want the number 1 seed to win, because if all of a sudden they go from being an automatic bid team to joining you on the bubble, that could be one less spot.
Absolutely. Everybody else, they are praying for chalk and to Gonzaga get into the NCAA tournament. And those teams, like we mentioned, that are right on that bubble, Minnesota or Nebraska or SC or some of these other ones, they are right now just hoping that they have a chance to get in there and that everything slides in the bracket like they like.
And a young lady that has been one of the biggest stories of this tournament so far, Sydney Williams. She only averaged about 9 points a game during the season, 20 in the semifinals against Pacific, and 13 in the first half for San Diego. Second half coming up.
You're watching the Audi Halftime Report.
Second half now underway. Keys for San Diego to pull off the upset, if they can.
I think they have to continue to get the ball inside the lane and make plays just like that. Great take to start the second half, get to the free throw line. They didn't get to the free throw line a lot. Just 4 times they were perfect from the line in the first half, but get in, draw some contact, and keep getting inside.
Aubrey Wardell, first team All West Coast Conference at the line. She had a quiet first half, 2 of 7 from the field. She's up to 5 points.
And she's their leading scorer at 14 per game. Has improved dramatically as a three-point shooter. The one player that starts for San Diego that really does have a three-point mentality where she can go deep, but they haven't needed it so far.
Shakira Rice from the elbow knocks it down.
Yeah, she has been so patient and smart offensively, taking what the defense gives her. That turn and face jump shot, well done.
Five to shoot. Williams had it ripped away by Stockton and a foul call.
And the ball movement. Look at the ball fake, moving the defense, getting it to the corner, making that zone shift, and the open player is Rice. And she has been knocking that down consistently.
Wardell, rebounded by Barta. Barta looks to post up. Calls for the ball, but Stockton goes the other way with 7 to shoot. High screen and roll with Rice. Back to Barta for 3. That is the definition of a shooter's roll.
Yes, it is. Off the back rim. It might have touched the top of the backboard, which is legal. That is still considered inbounds on the shot and drops in sweetly.
When you're the West Coast Conference Player of the Year, sometimes you get the bounce.
Sometimes better to be lucky than good, huh?
Wardell can't answer. Out of bounds to the Zags.
A little extra block out. But look at this. Dead on, but not straight in. Sometimes the rim just wants it. Just wants the ball to go in. That time, she's got to give a little tip of the cap to the top of the backboard for helping her out. And San Diego had been player to player, now switching it up to zone.
Off the mark, Jen Worth. Good to see her on the floor. She took a heck of a tumble in the semis yesterday. Went down hard and injured her back.
Yeah, it looked like she drilled her head, but all the contact come down on her back. And yeah, it's great to see her out here and able to go.
Worth in the corner. Leaning in and unable to connect with Maya Pace, but the tip follows good.
Yeah, that's Hood, the all-time leading rebounder in San Diego history, and she's all of 5'10". Total rebounds and offensive rebounds.
Going right at Hood that time. And missing the pull-up was Townsend. Leaning in as Hood hit the underside of the rim, taken away by Chandler Smith.
Just a little off balance.
Chandler Smith pulls up. That's in and out. And Hood's got another rebound. Throws it up the sideline and alertly tracked down by Sydney Shepard.
It's been a well-played game. I think players are a little tired right now. You see players kind of hunched over a little bit. Not a lot of free throws and a high pace in the first half.
Maya Pace hit the side of the backboard. Here comes Stockton. Stockton crosses over, and she traveled.
And this would have been an excellent move, but she did it too quickly. It was 3 steps instead of a jump stop and then go into it.
Now, we mentioned Jen Worth and why it is so good to see her back on the floor. This was a clean play yesterday, although the crowd wanted a foul to be called against San Francisco, but Jen Worth landed right on the small of her back. And boy, was she shaken up. And so just good to see her able to get back on the floor today. And now Stockton has to go to the bench as she picks up a cheap foul in the backcourt. That's her third.
You can see she doesn't like it, trying to make a play. You know, when you pick up the third, though, most of the time you're going to have to sit and think about it for a little bit. Although 5:48 to go in the third quarter, we shouldn't see her be sitting down for a long period.
Only the second three attempted in the entire game. That one from Alexandria Young of San Diego. They are now 0 for 2 from 3. Foul called on Sydney Williams. That's her third.
You just look at her eyes right now. You just love it. The sense of urgency as a senior. And look at these players just leaning on each other, trying to get position, just battling on the block. Williams talking to herself and her teammates. I mean, you just know right now that every play matters.
Great little give and go off the inbound as Sta got a return from Chandler Smith. And now near midcourt, Sta is all over Wardell. Five minutes to go in the third. Foul called up top on Chandler Smith.
The officials letting them play in this game, and I like it. They've not blown the whistle unnecessarily. Both teams have been content to have it be physical.
We'll step aside midway through the third quarter. The women's championship in the West Coast Conference on the line here in Las Vegas.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Voya Financial, helping you to and through retirement, and Walt Disney World Resort.
Champ Week presented by Principal continues at Barclays Center in Brooklyn all the way through Thursday and then on into the weekend with the New York Life ACC tournament. Boston College advancing. That's right. Here's a BC Eagle. Gets a chance to watch his team play on Wednesday against NC State. Syracuse and Wake coming up later on here on ESPNU. And then, of course, the big dogs in the New York Life ACC tournament await as Carolina, Virginia, Clemson, Miami, Duke all waiting to see who their competition will be. Off the timeout, coming up short on the drive was Caroline Burke.
And Stockton still taking a seat on the bench. Loetta playing the point guard spot.
Chandler Smith sets up Sta. She knocks down a three with a big fist bump. And now danger zone for San Diego, down by double figures.
How good has Sta been? Her fourth three of the game.
This is the largest lead for the Zags. 4 minutes to go in the third. The drive by Hood. And Maya Hood will go to the free throw line.
Yeah, Sta, 14 points, 4 of 6 from the three-point line, and just going behind the screen, and that is beautiful. Nice arch rotation. So many international players within this game. Sta from Germany has an accent when you speak to her, but it's remarkable to come over here and go to school in two really good schools in Gonzaga and San Diego, and English as your second language, and for some of these players it's their third or fourth, but to come in, and she's a really good student and has been a heck of a player for Gonzaga.
Some pressure here in the backcourt, trying to turn it over for San Diego, and they nearly get a steal. Sta through traffic, gives it up to Barta.
You don't see that often. An air ball from Joe Barta. She's got a wry smile on her face as she turns around.
Pull-up's no good for Maya Pace, but she draws the foul. So the West Coast Conference all-freshman team selection at the line to try and cut the lead down to 8. When you're the 6 seed and you're in this back and forth game with the 1 seed, and all of a sudden the 1 seed puts a little run on, and you look up at the scoreboard, wow, instead of being down 4, we're down 6, now we're down 11. What's the mentality like, and what does a coach have to do to stabilize that team?
Well, I think their defense is what got them to this position right now. It wasn't their offense, and even though they shot the ball really well and had a great first half, they've got to get stops. They have got to apply the pressure. They have got to get out and make it difficult for Gonzaga, because right now they're just passing the ball around and they're getting whatever they want.
Loetta can't hit the 3, and the rebound by Hood, tied up, held ball, and it will go back to Gonzaga. So good hands from Barta to get in and tie up Hood.
And Barta, the WCC MVP, saying, yeah, my bad, I shot the air ball. You do not see that very often from Barta. She's nails.
Rice banks it home, and the lead back up to 11.
Well, Rice's energy in this game has been contagious. She has just brought it from the opening tip.
Hustle from Loetta, almost got the steal. A miscommunication between Pace and now heading to the bench, Kendall Bird. And that was read by Loetta. She almost got the steal, but stepped on the end line.
Lisa Fortier, the head coach for Gonzaga, says that Loetta might be the fastest player in the WCC conference. And you see her there poking it from behind, just all over the place defensively. Some good athletes in the WCC conference, so to be considered as one of the fastest, pretty impressive.
Pace fouled by Rice. So the freshman goes back to the line. Under 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. You know how great it is for someone that calls men's college basketball the whole season to say third quarter?
It's so great.
It's really the way it ought to be. I had this whole conversation last year with Jay Billis, and we went back and forth. I was kind of defending the 20-minute halves format only because I like the 1-and-1. I think 1-and-1 adds some drama on the 7th, 8th, and 9th fouls late in the game. But he convinced me, talking to you today, you've convinced me as well, that the pacing of the game, 5 fouls in the bonus, breaking up the halves into quarters rather than playing 20-minute halves, the better way to go.
You and I are on the same page exactly. I wish that when you get to 5 fouls in the bonus that it's still 1-and-1 until you get to 10. I mean, I think you should be rewarded if you're a good free throw shooter, but I think women's college basketball got the rule changes absolutely right. The 4 10-minute quarters adds drama at the end of each one. You get a lot of those type of situations, not shot clock situations, but end of quarter execution out of a timeout or drawing something up, and it is fun and entertaining for the fans. And then the ability to advance the ball. They put that in 2 seasons ago.
Yep, NBA style.
It is, you have 2 seconds on the clock. The game's not over. And I think it adds so much drama and entertainment to the game.
There's an air ball that's tracked down by Hood, but a foul called. And the Kennel South thought that that was all ball from Jill Townsend.
It is the Kennel South. Absolutely. There is so much red and blue here in the arena, in the hotel. We're at the Orleans. There's just thousands of Zag fans everywhere. They did not like that call. Really impressive stuff. Gonzaga and the city of Spokane supports basketball, period. Basketball.
It's a basketball mecca, basically out in the woods.
And we all know what the men's program has done, and Mark Few and what they've done with that program. And the women's program started by Kelly Graves, and now year 4 with Lisa Fortier. They just win. They win all the time, and the fans go. Over 5,000 fans. There's 4,400 women's basketball season ticket holders. Really impressive how they've built that and the community support.
Out of bounds to Gonzaga with 8 seconds on the shot clock. You know, if you travel a lot calling college basketball games, there are a handful of places that are on that list where I come from New Jersey. So there are some spots where you're thinking, wow, I mean, that is just impossible for me to get there. But once you're there, you are in a place where you know that they just eat, live, breathe the game. Ames, Iowa is another one. I mean, Iowa State, you have to get to Des Moines, and you've got to drive 45 minutes to an hour up to Ames. And there obviously is a product of Spokane. But once you finally make it to that destination and you realize every single game that is played by a Gonzaga in Spokane, an Iowa State in Ames, so on and so forth, it feels like the Super Bowl. I mean, it's the only thing that town cares about, and it's a lot of fun to be there. They're checking at the monitor, I guess, to see whether or not the ball grazed the rim and whether or not it should be a fresh shot clock.
Spokane on the eastern side of the state of Washington. San Diego has 5 players from the state of Washington. Another one from Idaho on the border. So a lot of Northwest kids in this game today.
It does look like the ball may have changed rotation just a bit. If so, that means it grazed the rim, but has to be indisputable video evidence to change whatever the call was that the officials had on the floor. And the call they had on the floor was to stick with 8 on the shot clock.
And you see in the NCAA tournament, there's an official over there at the monitor helping.
Now they're going to reset the clock.
I think that's the right call. See the official, Brenda Pantoa, speaking with Lisa Fortier. Was an outstanding player at the University of Arizona herself. One of the leading assist makers in the history of that program. It's great to see the former players then move over to officiate.
Barta puts it on her hip, puts it off the glass, and puts it through the hoop, as usual.
Her footwork, she got on balance, she jump stopped, she took one extra step and then another, just pivoting around the defender so she could get an angle to get that shot off.
17 points, 6 rebounds for Jill Barta.
She was the WCC tournament MVP last year as just a sophomore. And plays like this. Watch her right foot now. Here, steps around the defender just to get an angle so her shot cannot get challenged.
Off the mark for Sydney Williams. She's cooled off. Stuck on 13 points since the first half. Barta spins again, connects again.
And that's what makes her so difficult in matchup basketball. She goes on the block and finishes against the big, and then she takes the big out, pump fakes the 3, and then just goes to work, gets it in the lane to finish. And when you have that many weapons to your offensive game, it's why she is the best player in the WCC conference.
Hood from the wing, in and out, and a chance for Gonzaga to hold for 1. Stav pushes, 10 seconds to go in the quarter.
Rice is working hard underneath.
Barta off the mark. Stav with an offensive rebound, rips it away. Good if it goes for Lowetta. Still an 11-point lead for the Zags at the end of the third quarter.
They push this out now, 11-point lead. They've got to feel comfortable, but San Diego, Cindy Fisher, and the Toreros, they got 11 points to make up here in the fourth.
We're back. It's Champ Week as we continue from Las Vegas, but beginning tomorrow, the Big 12 Championship kicks off at Sprint Center in Kansas City, and whoever would have thought that Bedlam would be a basic play-in game between the 8 and 9 seed, Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. Trae Young starts off the season as the no doubt about it player of the year on the men's side, and just fizzled as conference play moved through, and Oklahoma's got to play their way into one of the quarterfinal games of the Big 12 tournament. Although Joe Lunardi, in his latest bracketology through this past weekend, of the 10 teams in the Big 12, he had 8 of them in the field. I mean, percentage-wise, there's no such thing as a team that gets 80% of their teams into the NCAA tournament, but it goes to show you that the Big 12 this year, top to bottom, probably the most competitive, hardest out conference on the men's side in college basketball.
Yeah, you think about Oklahoma being the 9 seed. I mean, they were, you mentioned the first half of the season, that was must-see TV with Trae Young, and competitive team, but they certainly have had their struggles in the conference.
A steal by Jill Barta to start off the fourth quarter, but gave it up to Maya Pace. Hood ends up with a chance for a three-point play off the feed from Patricia Brossman. That is exactly the start to the fourth quarter that San Diego needed.
And you see how much they respond to this. Right there, just pumping her fist. The players come up, say, that's what I'm talking about, because their season could be over in 10 minutes in regards to the NCAA tournament. If they don't make a run here, they've got to get points on the board, and 3 right out of the quarter break is exactly the kind of momentum boost they want.
How about Patricia Brossman stepping off the bench? This is the first minute of the game that she's played, and her pass ends up resulting in a three-point play. And with 30 seconds gone by in the fourth quarter, makes this game a little more interesting. The skip pass knocked out of bounds by Aubrey Wardell. 8 to shoot.
Lisa Fortier taking the coat off. It's fourth quarter, the WCC championship game. She's getting into it now.
Shot clock winding down. Rainbow three from the corner. Goes down for Jill Townsend. What a big momentum-changing shot that is.
Just a freshman, the 5'11" shooter out of Okanagan, Washington, knocking down a huge triple.
Skip pass sets up the open jumper. And Alexandra Hagan makes it count. That's her first bucket. Barta with the left hand. Off the mark. Here comes Wardell on a run out. No numbers, but she'll give it up. Still not a made three in the game for San Diego. They are 0 for 4 as a team.
And you see Maya Hood take the ball there and didn't even look at the hoop, even though she was open.
And Wardell missed about an 8-footer.
Those are the ones they made in the first half, especially in that first quarter when they put 25 points on the board. But 15 in the second quarter and just 10 in the third quarter.
Stockton tries to turn the corner, leans in, a little too strong off the glass. The putback rolls off the rim for Townsend. She ends up with Barta outside. Hits a three, second chance points for Gonzaga.
And Gonzaga can feel it right now. They can smell the championship. You can tell with their body language.
Good box out by Townsend. And now a foul called on Williams. Now check that foul is going to go on Maya Pace.
The three-point shots raining down. Look at the height. It's well above the shot clock. It's hitting the rafters here in the Orleans Arena for Jill Townsend. That's when you know you're pure. Yeah, she can sit back and smile after that shot. You ever heard of the NOAA shooting system? It measures the arc of your shot and where it's at, the best mark. I think that one would have been way above the NOAA shooting system.
Stockton, nice feed inside with the left hand, the finish from Jen Worth. My NOAA shooting system was when I shot it, my teammates would yell, no.
No,
don't do that.
Well, right now, Gonzaga's offense is saying yes. They are rolling. Building a 14-point lead. And Laura Stockton with another beautiful dime to her teammate.
Jen Worth fouls Maya Hood.
Stockton with 7 assists now in this game. Just 2 turnovers.
Hayes squeezed the inbounds through. And a ragged possession so far for San Diego. Double teamed up against the sideline is Pace in the corner. Finds Hood. Williams straight away. Gets it to go. A wide open jumper off of a ragged possession for San Diego. That was a much needed bucket.
Yeah, Maya Hood really worked to make that possession successful, moving off the block and going to get the basketball and then penetrating and finding Williams.
Barta perfect from the elbow.
Yeah, just so easy and smooth for Barta from that high post position.
24 for Barta. Remember, she was quiet in the first quarter. A big second quarter and a very solid third quarter. And now Chandler Smith ends up at the takeaway.
Gonzaga just has so many quality guards. And even when Stockton picked up that third foul and sat for quite a few minutes in the third quarter, Emma Stahl played really well. Boetta, Chandler Smith.
Back tap, keeping it alive was Jen Worth. And now Stockton will milk some clock.
The right decision with a 14-point lead. You want to be patient and get the best shot you can. Don't get too conservative. There's still a lot of time to go, but be patient.
With the left hand, that is as fundamentally sound as it gets. Barta's got 26, and the Toreros need a timeout.
And this crowd on their feet, they absolutely love what they're seeing. 73 to 57, they are smelling the WCC title.
Back in Las Vegas, where the coaching staff of the Zags, led by Lisa Fortier and Craig Fortier there as well, on the verge of another championship.
Craig Fortier, the assistant coach in the gray jacket. Lisa Fortier with the brown hair, talking to each other. Got 3 kids together, and her husband actually was on the men's side of things at Eastern Washington. Was the associate head coach of the men's program, also in Spokane as Eastern Washington. And then when she got the head job, moved over to be the assistant. She said, I promise I'm going to find my husband and hug him this year if we can win the WCC tournament title. She said, we won it last year. She's like, I hugged everybody else but him. I said, all right, I'll hold you to that. But, man, I cannot imagine the intensity and just the highs and lows when you're a coach, and then to have your husband going through the exact same thing.
Wonder what some of those car rides home are like after a close loss. I know we should have run that high ball screen, but I'm not sure I'm going to tell her that right now. Back in a moment.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal, Investments, Retirement, Insurance, and Axe.
Zykira Rice might need a new look. That might be it. Steve Levy, Kenny Mayne, Sports Center. After the WCC championship game tonight on ESPN, they'll break down Houston, Oklahoma City, with the Rockets looking to extend their streak. Plus a look at how the 76ers are only 2 games away from the 3 seed. Joey Brackett's in the bunker. Sports Center, 11 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. I think the best part about that guy we just saw, it's got to be his wife sitting right next to him, right? See how she was just looking in the opposite direction? I have to sit next to you.
I mean,
but I can't believe you wore this gear.
That fella is put together. What do you mean? Red suit, red hand, a match?
There's nothing accidental
Conducting the band at the
about
same
what that
time?
guy's wearing. No doubt about it. That was an outfit pocket square. That was put together weeks ago for this tournament.
Impressive showing by the Zags fans for sure.
And the missus just there in a red sweater.
I mean, can you imagine if she was all decked out as well? Whew. It is Vegas, though.
Stockton. Scoop shot won't go. Down by 15, under 5 minutes to go. The pull-up is good for Aubrey Wardell. 13-point lead, still 4 minutes remaining to San Diego. Have a push in them with the WCC title on the line.
Oh, they will have to start it with defense. Constant pressure, forcing turnovers. They are running out of time.
Missing the bunny is Chandler Smith. They're going to need some misses just like that to have a chance to pull off the comeback.
And here's where the issue lies. They have yet to make a three-point shot.
Yeah, they're 0 for 4.
And that's why in this game today, you can have these massive comebacks with 3-4 minutes, because the 3-ball, 3 possessions, 9 points, you can do that. San Diego just has not been able to do that this season.
Williams misses, but an offensive rebound is tracked down by Burr. Burr pulls up in the lane. That's blocked by Rice. Knocked around. Ends up with Stockton. Now, you're right. In this modern age of college basketball, pro basketball, whatever level, the three-point shot has to be a part of what you do, doesn't it?
It really does, because the efficiency of it. If you're going to give up some threes, and they've given up 7 to Gonzaga, that's 7 extra points compared to buckets. They have 22 field goals in this game, but they're down by 13 points.
Later on tonight, 9 Eastern on ESPN, the men's championship in the West Coast Conference, and Gonzaga looks like they'll be trying to pull off the double dip, because the women, with 3 minutes to go, have a 13-point lead trying to win the women's title. Can BYU pull off the upset tonight and take it away from Mark Few's team? BYU last night looked like the makeup of a team that may have an upset in them.
I just wonder, these Gonzaga fans, they got a couple hours to go burn before they come right back here to the Orleans Arena.
Backcourt, misstep, turnover for Gonzaga, and a chance for San Diego to make this a single-digit lead.
And that's what San Diego has to do, and they have to do this for the final 2:48 to crawl back in this. It's exactly what you need. The backcourt pressure, close the trap, create havoc, and now you've got to look to the 3 at some point.
Wardell, yes, and it's down to single digits with 2:40 to go.
Aubrey Wardell is the one player that really is good from the three-point line. She had the pull-up jumper, but it's their defense that will be crucial.
Stockton with a really nice job of shielding the ball, looking like dad. In control, in traffic. Timeout called, though, on the bench by Lisa Fortier.
And I think it's a good timeout. Settle her team down. Laura sure shows a lot more emotion than Dad John. John never really did show emotion when he played.
10-time All-Star, a Hall of Fame inductee back in 2009. No one with more assists or steals in NBA history when shorts were short. John Stockton
His shorts
and
are
Karl
making a
Malone.
comeback.
Yeah, they are starting to creep back up. You're right. But boy, she is the spitting image of her father, and on top of that, has that competitive spirit you talked about. And also is interesting, part of that article you referenced earlier in USA Today, kind of that internal debate of, should I go to Gonzaga? Is it the right place for me? An older sister went to Montana State, decided not to follow in dad and older brother David's footsteps, but the recruiting visit turned her and realized she could form her own legacy. And she's done that.
I mean, you think about going into the Gonzaga gym, and there are photos all over of her family. I mean, John Stockton's a Hall of Famer and started this.
Another takeaway, though, for San Diego. Not dead yet. Foul called. So Sydney Hunter, who had come in just to help provide some pressure and maybe give a foul, draws a foul.
Just a freshman.
And Stockton commits the foul. That's her 4th.
2 big free throws for the freshman out of McNary.
Pretty good to come in cold off the bench and knock down some foul shots.
Absolutely. San Diego with those 5 seniors, there's not a lot of available minutes. She's part of the future of this program.
The lead down to 7 with 2:08 to go. It's a 9-0 run over the last 3 minutes for San Diego.
And Gonzaga just watching the clock, wanting it to tick, tick, tick away.
Stop from the corner. In and out. Hood has it for San Diego, and a chance for the Toreros to draw closer.
Hood, 5'10", battling the bigs for that board.
There goes the freshman again. Hit the underside of the backboard. Barta's got it.
And at what point does San Diego have to reach out and foul? You're only down by 7. Now, do not foul. 10 on the shot clock.
That's
no.
a bad foul. That's a bad decision. If you're going to foul, you foul a lot earlier in the possession than that.
That's what you close the trap. You reach out. You don't mind a foul if there's 25 on the shot clock, 23. But when it gets down to 10.
Yeah, that one does not make any sense. San Diego with only 2 team fouls as well, so they can give a bunch.
You've got to swipe at the ball. You've got to, again, 10 seconds have gone off the clock, and you're down by 7.
Barta being hounded. Crowd looking for a foul call. Held ball. It'll stay with Gonzaga with a minute to go. San Diego still with a couple of fouls to give before Gonzaga is shooting free throws.
Well, right here, I do not see a foul. I think it's a good no call. Just lost track of the ball, and then underneath her was a player that wasn't fouling her. She just was there. San Diego doing everything they can to try to get back in this, but just 1 minute remaining. They cannot afford to just play good defense without fouling.
The top free throw shooters for Gonzaga, certainly they will all be on the floor. They have not missed a late game free throw.
Yeah, they have been money. This Gonzaga team undefeated when they lead at halftime. They do not give leads away. They know how to close out. And free throws, such a crucial part of the game. Any level, it's what wins and loses games late. And when you have 5 different players who haven't missed all season with less than 10 minutes to go, you feel really confident as a coach. Maybe it's one of the reasons San Diego hasn't reached out to really foul and put him in the bonus, but they're going to have to at some point. 16 seconds on the shot clock now. Gonzaga could take it down to 45 seconds left in this game.
You foul with 12 on the shot clock. So that will still as a foul to give, not result in shots. And the shot clock resets back up to 30.
Yeah, this is where you have to full deny. Full deny, do not let him enter the ball.
Final timeout called by Cindy Fisher.
And what that does is it eliminates the chance to advance the ball. In women's college basketball, the rule changed last year. If under a minute to go and you call timeout, you can advance the ball to the front court and save precious seconds. And a comeback attempt, you'd love to have that in your back pocket.
Monday, March 12th, the exclusive live announcement of the 64-team NCAA Women's Championship. The field will be revealed again this year at 7 Eastern on ESPN on the 12th. A bonus hour of coverage on ESPNU at 8. Maria Taylor, Rebecca Lobo, Andy Landers, Kara Lawson, Charlie Cream. They'll break down every team, every matchup, each region. It's the Women's Selection Special presented by Capital One, also streaming live on the ESPN app. So the Toreros still with a foul to give. They have the arrow, no timeouts left. And if I was reading lips, and I saw Cindy Fisher over in the San Diego huddle, it was, as you said, deny, 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 go for the steal. If we don't get it, have to foul right away.
Yeah.
You can't allow another 15, 17 seconds to come off the shot clock before you foul again and just have it reset to 30.
Oh.
Wow. What looked like Aubrey Wardell.
Yeah, that was the one spot where you do not want to enter the ball. You've got defenders all around you that aren't defenders. You come here in this corner, you're on the sideline, you're on the half-court line, you got nowhere to go, and they called the push.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a good call. Stockton through traffic.
You got to foul, you got to get out.
And now they foul Barta, an 86% free throw shooter.
I mean, it is ironic that when your team has been disciplined and played a clean game and hasn't gotten into foul trouble, that it can come down and hurt you in the final minute of a game. But all these precious seconds have just ticked off. Two clutch free throws from Barta, 28 points. for the WCC MVP, playing like it today.
Line drive three goes down for Sydney Williams. Finally a triple for San Diego. And now Barta immediately fouled. 34 seconds to go. And the lead is at 6. Maya Hood picks up her first.
Getting it to go down for Williams. Clutch.
Williams now with 20 points in each of the 2 games San Diego has played now here in Las Vegas, in the semis and now in the finals.
You know, she traded all that for a win. That's all she wanted, was a chance to beat Gonzaga and win that trophy.
Running one-hander is good for Alexandria Young.
Well, San Diego's done what they needed to do offensively. They've pushed hard. They've gotten shots up quickly, a 3-ball, and then that drive. And now, with Gonzaga calling the timeout, they can set up that full-court pressure defense again.
You surprised Gonzaga would spend a timeout here and allow San Diego to get organized?
A little bit, but I think you would rather be safe than sorry, and so you can also set up your offense. You can also go in there and make sure everybody knows exactly where to go, and they can advance the ball to the front court so they don't have to worry about that backcourt pressure period with just 24 seconds left. So there's a lot of different reasons why at that point you call that timeout. They still have one in their back pocket that they can use if they get in trouble. And they do decide to advance it right in front of their bench.
Barta, out of a double team, is fouled, so she'll go back to the free throw line with 21 seconds to go, working on a 30-point game to go along with 8 rebounds.
Well, she's an 86% free throw shooter on the season. And perfect today. It's one of those you just say, hey, thank you very much. I'm adding on to that average of mine.
Fourth time this season Jill Barta has been over 30 in a game. And this one could be the clincher for the WCC women's title.
Just cool. Didn't even hesitate, change her rhythm. She could have been shooting those in her backyard.
Williams lost it. It belongs with 9 seconds to go to San Diego, and the noise starts to build from the Bulldog faithful as they are sensing this one's all over. They're going to start off this doubleheader with at least one championship, as they will secure the women's title and the automatic berth in the NCAA tournament. That jumper's short. Stockton's got it. Dribbles out the final seconds, and that does it. The regular season champions in the West Coast Conference were the Gonzaga Bulldogs, and now the Zags complete the run in conference play. They win the women's tournament title as well, and they are headed to the NCAA tournament.
Well, taking care of business.